Alright, let me show you where I'm at right now in the process. I've gone ahead on my other wing and glued in the filler strip. And this time, instead of using the Gorilla Glue that was foam safe, the polyurethane glue, I've used the foam safe super glue. The reason for that is I did a quick test. I took two pieces of foam, glued them together using the Gorilla Glue, let it dry, tried to pull apart the two pieces, and I was able to. I was able to separate the two. It took some force, but I was able to, and they broke cleanly at the glue joint. I then said, well, okay, let me try the super glue. So I took the same two pieces of foam, glued it back together using the super glue, let it dry overnight, tried to pull it apart. I could, but in doing so, it took a whole lot more force, and when it finally came apart, it really mangled to pieces. It did not separate on the glue line. So I was much more impressed with the strength and holding power of the super glue. So this being a very critical part of the wing, that's where the reinforcing carbon fiber tube is going to go, I opted to go with the super glue here. So I've got that in place. You'll also see that I've added some reinforcing tape to the leading edge of the wing, also along the wing tip. I don't want to get carried away with that because obviously I'm adding more weight, but again, realizing that this is going to crash, I don't want to destroy my plane either. So I'm looking at probably adding some more. I want to add a strip or two to the top surface, but I also don't want to make it look ugly. And one of the things I did is, in applying my reinforcing tape, I lifted up my decal so that if I choose, and I'm planning on replacing the decals, that it's going to look good and I don't have to pull anything up or try to hide anything. So I'm going to probably be adding a strip or two more of the reinforcing tape. The other thing I did, and I don't know how clearly you'll be able to see here, but the control horn that protruded from the top side of the flap in the aileron, I've clipped those fairly flush, so those have been trimmed as well. So that's pretty much, now I'm done with the wings. So I've been doing some work on the fuselage, and one of the things I changed was I removed the tube from the front position where the screw goes in to hold the wing. I've also added an opening above the existing opening underneath the other tube. I've also removed a little piece of foam in the bottom here so that if I need to and want to locate my FPV battery there, I have room. So that was the reason for removing that tube, that would give me enough room to get this battery in. The reason for adding this additional opening was this is now, battery is going to block this opening. And I want to make sure that I get airflow back through here. And the reason for that is that I've decided to locate my ESC, my speed controller, in that rear section for a couple reasons. The leads weren't long enough, and so this way I didn't have to solder on any extensions to that ESC. Also, trying to figure out where my center of gravity is going to be, it was certainly nose heavy, so I'm going to try to keep as much towards the rear as I can within reason. So I've located the ESC. I had to solder on some bullet connectors since the ESC had none soldered on. I also had to solder on the XT60 connector and apply the appropriate heat shrink. You'll see that my power manager is going to be located approximately in this area here. I'm planning, like I said, to put my FPV battery in this location. My main battery, of course, will be in the nose, and that's going to leave my electronics chassis in this area here. That's going to make for a relatively tight fit. I'm not going to have a lot of room. I still have my on-screen display, my OSD in here. I've got all the cables, servo cables that are going to be coming through here. And another concern with the chassis is whether or not I'm going to have much or any adjustment with this main battery, which is normally going to be used to adjust my center of gravity. Right now, it's not squeezing through. If I give it a little bit of nudge, it does, but what it's actually doing is flexing out the bottom of this fuselage. So I'm not sure, certainly once I get Velcro on there, if that's going to be much of an option. So that's going to be a concern, trying to get my center of gravity correct with having a minimal adjustment. I've done some quick tests. I've put the two halves of the fuselage together, added the horizontal and vertical stabilizer, put all the different components in, and try to figure out where my center of gravity was. And right now it was approximately right where that first screw is going to go, which is going to line up pretty closely, slightly towards the nose though, pretty close to where the center of gravity needs to be. So that's good. At least it's not really far forward. That would have been a major concern of mine. I did not have the prop on or the prop adapter, so that's certainly going to influence it. But I'm about where I need to be, and that was with the FPV battery in this location. So next step will be to make some decision as to exactly where these things are going to go, because my concern is once I glue this all together and I then encounter problems, it's going to be very difficult to change. I don't want to have to cut open the fuselage or add openings if I don't have to. So I'm a little hesitant to make that final decision, but I'm certainly going to have to here very shortly. So I'll keep you up to date with my videos as to my progress, and if you like these, please subscribe. All right, thank you.